Hi, I'm Robin.
And I'm Chris. Together we're the Gen X couple.
Hey guys.
Take one. Hello, everyone.
All right. So it's officially the start of summer, and I feel like there's really no better way to kick it off than to talk about road trips. But not the kind where you plug in your phone and let it do everything for you. You guys, I'm talking about the classic, slightly stressful, totally memorable road trips of our childhood. The ones, with paper maps like Indiana Jones, mixtapes, and parents who swore they knew a shortcut.
Yeah, those trips were an adventure, even before you left the driveway.
Seriously.
You're talking about unfolding maps that seemed larger than the car itself, arguing over directions, and of course, everyone getting lost.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me started on, are we there yet? Course that started the second you hit the highway. Somehow every trip felt simultaneously epic and endless.
Exactly. But that was really part of the fun, right? Everything was slower and more unpredictable. Gas stations weren't just gas stops. They were pit stops for snacks, bathroom breaks. God help you. They were the worst bathrooms of all time. And those weird souvenirs that you didn't really need, but you begged for anyway. And then there was the radio, trying to find a station that actually played something everyone in the car liked. Eek. It was chaos, but somehow it was perfect.
Yeah, let's be honest. As a kid, getting lost wasn't just inconvenient. It was terrifying. You had no idea how far the next exit actually was, and your parents were suddenly these mystery navigators who knew where they were going. And if the map got wet or ripped, that was basically the end of civilization in your eyes.
Yeah, so I think we should talk about the map struggle first. Maps are probably the number one symbol of pre-digital road trips. You have these giant paper maps spread across the dashboard, half in your parents' lap and probably some part in your own lap, too. And there was always some person reading the map incorrectly, pointing you down the shortcut that somehow added an hour to the trip. Do you remember those?
Yes.
Yeah, they were very complicated. I don't even know if kids these days can read a map.
I still can't.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that. He can't even find his way out of our own driveway. He's very directionally challenged. But I'm great at directions, so we balance each other perfectly.
And there's always that argument over whether you're supposed to read the map north, up, or car forward. You heard things like, turn left here, and 5 minutes later you're looking at a cornfield, wondering how you got there. And heaven forbid your sibling touched the map, you would have thought the entire plan of the trip was ruined.
And then there were the landmarks. So before GPS, you guys, you just had to trust in signs, billboards, and whatever your dad remembered from a road trip atlas that was last updated in 1982. Turn of the Big Red Barn could mean a barn that didn't exist anymore, or a chicken coop someone painted red yesterday. And yet somehow we survived. We made stories out of every wrong turn.
Yeah, the wrong turns were half the adventure. You drive down through tiny towns you've never seen otherwise, discover weird roadside attractions, and sometimes even stumble upon these local diners with the best fries ever. Losing your way had its perks, but at the time, it felt like a total nightmare.
Oh, for sure. So now let's talk about the snacks, right? Snacks and the backseat situation. Two very different situations we're talking about. But every road trip had some combination of chips, candy, and drinks, and somehow there was always a sibling battle over who got the last treat. I was always stuck in the back seat with my sister and brother, and my sister, being the middle child, always got the middle seat. She would always complain, and I feel like I still use this whenever I can. She would always say that she was a hot dog stuck between two buns. But being hilarious, sure. Did it change her predicament? Nope.
Love that. The middle street struggle is universal.
Seat struggle.
There's just something about being trapped between two people fighting for armrest and snack space.
Armrest? We didn't even have armrests in the 80s. I don't even know why I put that.
That makes the whole car feel like a pressure cooker. And somehow, made every trip feel simultaneously long and unforgettable.
Exactly. Snacks were always a high-stakes situation, and somehow every small spill or disagreement turned into a really big deal. Bathroom breaks and timing snacks just right were a part of the strategy, and the backseat commotion often became a memory that we still laugh about today.
And music often became another battlefield. With 7 kids in my family,
Ugh.
I can tell you the tape decks could start wars in seconds.
I can't even imagine doing a road trip with 7 children.
I
My
know.
God.
Every song choice, fast forward or rewind, could ignite a mini crisis, and bathroom and snack logistics only added to the madness. But somehow, the stories we came home with made it all worth it.
Yeah, I'm sure. So what we have to talk about now is how we actually kept ourselves busy on these road trips, because there were no iPads, tablets, or streaming. We had to get creative. And I remember bringing books to read while we were bouncing along the road, and sometimes giving up after 5 minutes because the car ride just kind of made it impossible for me to focus.
Right, and when the books failed, it was all about car games.
Mm-hmm.
Like the license plate game, for
Mhm.
example, seeing who could spot the most states or making up silly words from the letters. And then there was the punch buggy, where which still goes on today.
It sure does.
And every time you pass the Beetle, you try not to get punched yourself and be the first one to say it.
Yeah, and me, my sister, and brother played the Woody game too. So they don't really make those anymore, but back in the day, we would basically point out every wooden station wag that we can find. And somehow at the time, it was pretty exciting. It was all about turning the mundane into a challenge, and we get really competitive. And it made long stretches of the highway feel like a fun scavenger hunt.
Yeah, and even the simplest games felt epic after hours in the back seat. I loved the alphabet game, spotting car colors,
Mm-hmm.
or seeing who could find a license plate from the farthest state. The back seat could become its own little world full of laughter, arguments, and tiny victories, all helping pass the time to the next gas stop.
Yeah, and sometimes the best entertainment wasn't even a game. It was just chatting with my siblings, laughing at our own jokes, or just watching the scenery go by. Those little moments combined with books, snacks, and games really made the trip feel like a mini adventure. And now we're going to talk about playlists, because music, I think, is the most important part of the road trip. You couldn't just stream a playlist or pick your own favorite song back then. You were completely at the mercy of whoever controlled the tape deck or the radio. For me, that meant my dad always picked the music, and I hated his music at the time. I hated being stuck listening to songs that I didn't like, but looking back, I appreciate it. And somehow, he had this way of setting the mood for the trip perfectly, choosing songs that really made the road trips fun.
Yeah, at the time it feels like oppression, but decades later you realize he was actually curating memories through music. And with 7 kids, my parents' music strategy was pure survival, trying to keep everyone from mutiny while still enjoying the ride.
Yeah, and I don't even think you guys listened to regular music. Didn't you listen to something different? Because you don't.
Like show tunes.
Yeah. Like we listened to popular music, or like my dad's stuff from like the 60s and 70s that he liked. I didn't hear a show tune until I was an adult, really. Yeah, so that mix of predictability from the music and unpredictability from everything else, like the traffic, wrong turns, snack wars, it made the road trip feel alive. And now every time I hear a song from one of those old tapes that my dad played, I'm instantly transported back to the exact moment in the car in the back seat.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes it pre-digital road trips so unforgettable. Every detail, every choice, music, snacks, stops, fights becomes part of a story that sticks with you for life. And even if you hated a song at the time, it's now part of your soundtrack for your childhood.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that really defined road trips before GPS were the bathroom and gas stops. You never knew how far the next one was, and that uncertainty created a mix of panic and adventure. You'd end up stopping at a gas station in the middle of nowhere and discover the weirdest snacks or the sketchiest bathrooms imaginable. 100%.
Yeah, and sometimes those stops became mini adventures themselves, like meeting other travelers, seeing local oddities or buying something completely ridiculous just because it was available. And then for a kid, everything feels enormous. The gas station, the bathrooms, even a cup of soda becomes a highlight.
And of course, timing was everything. You would try to, well, not us, our parents would try to coordinate fuel, snacks, and bathroom breaks perfectly, but you guys, it never worked. Someone always needed to go at the wrong time, or the gas tank ran lower than expected, or the bathroom had a broken lock. All that chaos is part of what made the trips so memorable.
Yeah, you weren't just traveling from point A to point B, you were experiencing every small hiccup along the way. Those moments, funny, stressful, ridiculous, are the ones that stick with you long after the trip is over.
Yeah, and when you look back, those road trips really taught everyone in the car a lot more than just how to navigate without GPS. They taught patience, compromise, and how to survive in a small space with people who drive you a little crazy. And somehow it made the family bonds a little stronger.
Yeah, and they also create stories that last a lifetime. You still tell the story of getting lost in that tiny town, the gas station with weird souvenirs, or that time someone hit fast forward on the tape 5 times in a row. Those memories stick with you, and you realize how rare it is to have that kind of shared adventure today.
Exactly. And maybe that's the charm of those old road trips. They were slow, unpredictable, a little stressful, but they were full of laughter. And even if you didn't appreciate it as a kid, looking back, they were perfect in their imperfection.
And now with GPS, iPads, and streaming services, that kind of adventure is harder to come by.
Mm-hmm.
But remembering it, sharing it, and laughing about it keeps that magic alive.
So this summer, whether you're hitting the road with your own kids, friends, or just reminiscing from home, remember those pre-digital road trips. The maps, the tapes, the wrong turns, and yeah, even the chaos. They're all part of the story, and they always will be.
Exactly. So happy summer, everyone, and may your adventures be just a little bit unpredictable.
Yes, and we don't have any road trips planned, do we? I don't think we do.
Not really.
No.
A New Hampshire one.
Yeah, actually, this will go up before.
But I don't think we'll have any of the kids with us.
We won't. It's adults only because our kids don't want anything to do with us anymore.
And I don't get to pick the music.
I try to make playlists on Spotify that you will like.
Have a couple,
you just don't.
Bangers.
You have the least musical knowledge of anyone I've ever met, and it blows my mind every time. Like a super popular song will come on, and Chris will be like, "I've never heard this song." I'm like, are you kidding me? You've never heard "Hungry Like the Wolf" by Duran Duran? That's like their biggest hit. Like, I don't know. I don't even have words because it blows my mind every single time, and it happens all the time. The end.
See you later, alligator.
In a wild crocodile.